And right now it's time for that time when we have our special guest. Tonight's special guest is Philip Bothwell. Philip is the National Wine Ambassador for Pernod Ricard, New Zealand's largest wine company. Church Road, as part of Pernod Ricard, are releasing this week a splendid new wine called Tom. Tom is featured in our wine review, and Philip, as our special guest, is here tonight to give us all the background of its development. We welcome Philip Bothwell as our special guest on The Beat Goes On. Philip Bothwell, welcome. Welcome to The Beat Goes On.
Thank you very much, Jared. It's a pleasure to be here.
Good to see you here.
Likewise.
Yes, now the wine industry, wonderful industry to be in, isn't it? That's
absolutely.
Your passion, obviously?
Yeah, absolutely, totally.
So you're an Irishman?
Yes, born and bred.
With a passion for the wine industry. How did that
happen?
Because I will tell our viewers that Philip is the National Wine Ambassador for Pernod Ricard.
Correct. My current role, National Wine Ambassador, is an extraordinarily pleasant one. I basically represent the wines of Pernod Ricard, which is the parent company that owns Montana, and I work very closely with our sales teams in terms of training and making sure they fully understand the wines we produce. Also, being Irish, of course, and being blessed with the gift of the gab, I often represent our company at various tastings or other functions where we can showcase some of the wonderful wines that we make under our many labels.
Now, a little bit about, for our viewers, Pernod Ricard.
Sure. Well, Pernod Ricard is a French company. They are the leading premium wine and spirits company in the world, and of course own the company that was, the wines that you will know in New Zealand that are owned by Pernod Ricard, for example, Montana, Stoneleigh, Church Road. They'll perhaps be our most famous brands. Of course, Lindauer as well for sparkling. So we have a number of different wineries and labels within the New Zealand market. And of course, overseas we have Mumm Champagne, Perrier-Jouet Champagne, and of course our Australian sister wineries of Jacobs Creek and Wyndham Estate. So it's an incredible portfolio of premium wines, and it's great fun to work with.
We're doing so well in international wine contests, aren't we? Why do you think we do so well?
Well, New Zealand, and in particular Marlborough, has this amazing ability to concentrate flavours. The wines that are produced in New Zealand are incredibly expressive of the variety from which they're grown. So they're very easy to get to know. What you smell, what you see is exactly what's in the glass. There's nothing hidden. They are wines that have incredible depth and are just enjoyable to drink and easy to get to know.
Can you remember your first experience of New Zealand wine?
I can remember my first. I can remember my first New Zealand wine. It was actually a Bordeaux blend from Hawke's Bay, and it was from the 1991 vintage, and it absolutely shook me. It was the most incredible wine. Now, I had it when it was a few years old, so it had matured nicely in bottle, and that was an extraordinary experience and really opened my eyes to what New Zealand could do.
Now, the great news this week, Philip, is it's just out in... We've cracked it, $1 billion in exports. How did that go down with your company that you work for? They must have been really, because they're one of the major exporters, aren't they?
Absolutely. Well, Montana is a leading exporter of New Zealand wine, so of course we're ecstatic that right around the world, people are enjoying New Zealand wine, and it appears in increasing numbers. So we're thrilled that our wine is meeting the needs of an awful lot of wine lovers all around the world.
Now, Philip, you're on the program today because today, Garboy, our wine expert,
yes,
he is reviewing Church Road Tom Chardonnay. He suggested, why not bring the National Wine Ambassador in to explain what's happening with Church Road Tom Chardonnay. So what is all of us about?
Well, it's quite simple. The team down at Church Road, led by Chris Scott, he has been working on Chardonnay for many, many years, and we've had tremendous success with the Church Road Reserve Chardonnay over the last 5 vintages in particular, every one of which has been a trophy winner or awarded a gold medal or higher. So Chris wanted to push the boundaries and see just how far we could take Chardonnay, and the result is Tom Chardonnay, of which we're incredibly proud.
Very soon, Gabor, our wine man, is going to be comparing it to a wonderful French wine. So it's really a battle between New Zealand and France. How do you think your Chardonnay is going to go?
Well, like I alluded to earlier, I don't tend to think of wines in opposition to each other. So I think the French wine will be fantastic, but it will also be fantastically different to our Tom Chardonnay. Our Tom Chardonnay, we believe, is one of the ultimate expressions of what Chardonnay can be in Hawke's Bay. So in that context, it will show what Hawke's Bay can do with Chardonnay, and I'm sure the French wine will show equally well what Chardonnay can do in France.
The name Tom,
sure,
as the name of a bottle
yes,
on a wine. How did that all come about? We know that it's Tom MacDonald, don't we?
Yeah, it's quite a fascinating story, actually. Well, the Church Road Winery was founded way back in 1897 by a gentleman called Bartholomew Steinmetz. He came originally from Luxembourg, and we're not quite sure how perhaps he ended up in New Zealand. But anyway, he decided that he wanted to grow some vines, so he bought some land
in Hawke's Bay.
In Hawke's Bay,
yep.
And started a winery. When he registered the land, the registrar said, "Where is the what's the address?" And it suddenly dawned on them that it didn't have an address. It was a piece of land, and he said, "Well, it's there's a church at the end of the road." Okay, so Church Road. Apparently so. Anyway. Bartholomew started off the winery, and he employed a young 14-year-old boy by the name of Tom MacDonald. And Tom basically learned his winemaking craft from Bartholomew, and whenever Tom was 19, Bartholomew headed back to Europe. And for whatever reason, Bartholomew decided not to come back. And he wrote a letter to Tom and said,
"You're in charge."
You're in charge, basically.
Yeah.
Tom bought the winery from Bartholomew Steinmetz. And Tom MacDonald then basically ran the Church Road Winery, although it has been, it was under a number of different names over the years. He ran that through basically until about 1976. And during that time, Tom planted Chardonnay, Cabernet Sauvignon, and he strove to produce what we would call today varietal wines, or wines as we would know them today. So Tom MacDonald was really pushing the boundaries by producing Cabernet Sauvignon wines, or Chardonnay as well.
He wanted to do something different.
Precisely.
Yes.
So he was a man of vision, and he decided he wanted to see what these great varieties could do in Hawke's Bay. So Tom has a legacy basically of vision and also of being very exact. He was a stickler for everything being just perfect. So we felt it was very fitting that our top wines, both the Tom Red, which is a Bordeaux blend, and of course now the new Tom Chardonnay, be named in honour of the legacy that Tom MacDonald left us.
Wonderful. Now, when's the official launch date for the new?
Well, the official launch date was the 26th of October, and the wine will be in selected outlets. There's not very much of it, of course. You can't make huge quantities of a wine at this level. So it will be found basically in some of the top restaurants and the top fine wine stores in New Zealand.
What will it retail at, do you think?
The price will be $69.95. So it'll be yes, that'll be the recommended retail price.
But the great thing is this, Philip, I'm going to be tasting it in 2 or 3 minutes' time.
Correct.
Gabor is just waiting out there. He's got the bottle there, and we're going to compare it to a wonderful French wine. So it's going to be New Zealand Tom against the French. They call it Chablis, don't they? Their Chardonnay?
Well, the French name their wines after the place where they were grown. So the Chablis is it's a Chardonnay that happens to be grown in an area of France around the town of Chablis.
Now, Philip, being a patriotic New Zealander, I've got a feeling that the Tom might win.
We're very confident in our winemaking abilities.
We'll see you soon.
All right, thank you.
Thanks,
Cheers, Jared.
Bye.